Welcome back. Our next guest spends a lot of her time dedicated to reducing violence with peace. Shayla Holmes is very active with the Greater Pittsburgh Coalition Against Violence and BPEP. She is the coordinator behind the second Community Peace Summit coming up later this week, and she joins us today on Intersections. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Lisa.
Yes.
So nice to be with you today.
Thank you. So tell me a little bit about how you got connected with BPEP and really wanting to fight against violence.
Yeah, so I met Tim originally at an event. I love going to different events, community events, and I heard him speak that day. And this was back in 2016, and he just blew me away, you know, his energy and just, you know, really him just being so dedicated, right, to the work that he does. So I said, I got to meet this guy, you know. So I went and introduced myself, and kind of the rest is history. You know, he brought me on board. I volunteered for the first, like, you know, few years, and then I became a paid employee. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, sadly, I know that you had your own tragedy that kind of has spurred you. You want to talk a little bit about, you know, what happened and how now you have really dedicated a lot of your time to fighting against violence.
Absolutely. So growing up, you know, I grew up in the East Side, Larmer area, lived in Hazelwood for a little bit, and just started losing a lot of friends, you know, back to back. Probably about 16 years old, I started losing those friends. And in 2013, though, I lost my first love, Andre. We called him Dre, and that, you know, at that time, I'm like, I have to get out here, you know, and do something. And I've pretty much been ongoing ever since, you know. So I've been a mentor for the youth, and that was really my driving motivation, losing Dre. Yeah.
And you also said you created your own anti-bullying campaign. Talk a little bit about that and why you thought that that was something that should have been done.
Absolutely. So I was bullied in school. I have kids, you know, they experienced, unfortunately, the effects of bullying, right? So in 2018, I created my anti-bullying program From the Inside Out, and it's really just, you know, focusing on self-worth, you know, self-love, and just really conflict resolution, right? You know, I feel like we can absolutely sit and talk about things before they lead to a violent situation. So that was my motivation for that.
Yeah. So the Coalition Against Violence launched this Community Peace Summit last month.
Yes.
You're basically in charge of it.
Yes.
So what exactly is the Community Peace Summit, and what is the goal?
Yes. So the Community Peace Summit kind of was birthed out of CAV, which is Coalition Against Violence, which is a major initiative of BPEP. And initially they had started having youth peace summits within our schools. This was way before I even came on, you know. And I heard about this and I'm like, how can I be a part of it? You know, I'm already working with the youth. I love working with the youth. So of course, Tim and his genius mind, he just, you know, kind of connected me with that area of, you know, just, he's like, you already have the expertise, so why not? So I said, you know, we're doing this for the youth, that's great, but we need to get something going in the community, right? For the adults, the parents, you know, that are out here suffering as well. And that's really, you know, kind of, I sat down and got my notebook and pen out and just really started, you know, coming up with some great ideas. And I was able to utilize our Strategies for Change document, which is, you know, based off of the work that we do in CAV. And I just started putting things together and gave it to Tim, got his approval, and, you know, the rest is history.
And it came at a time when we have seen this uptick in violence here in the city and in the county, just really across Western PA. So what was the response from that first one that you had?
Wow, so the first one was February 23rd. We were at the UPMC Neighborhood Center right in East Liberty. They allowed us to use their facility, you know, which is a wonderful facility. I encourage people to go out there all the time. But it was such a great turnout. You know, we were truly, honestly surprised by how many people not only showed up, but showed out, right? You know, and they were just vocal and shared how they felt. So it was great.
Yeah, and people really connected because this is something people really care about.
Absolutely, yes.
Well, the next one is coming up, and so we're going to share the details for that. The next one is going to be Wednesday, March 22nd from 4 until 8 p.m. at the Kingsley Center on Frankstown Avenue, sponsored by the Greater Pittsburgh Coalition Against Violence and BPEP.
Yes,
Thank you, Shayla, so much for being with us today. We really appreciate you coming and really talking about something that really people want to hear about and find some solutions to. So we appreciate you.
Thank you for having me again.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. Well, coming up next, a local author joins us to talk about hidden gems in the workplace. Intersections. We'll be right back.